In November of 2023, the Swell Pod took a 10-day journey across 5 states, traveling 3,580 miles with one challenge in mind.
And that challenge was to interview 100 pleasantly rebellious humans to uncover deep truths about what it takes to create something that has never existed before, challenge the status quo, maybe even change the world.
This is the Kiln Road Trip, created and produced by the Swell Pod.
In partnership with Kiln, Moterra Camper Vans, and sponsored by Taurus.
I'm Spencer McKeown.
And I'm Josh Taylor, and together we're the co-hosts of the Swell Pod and your guides on the Kiln Road Trip. Follow along on the journey.
Be sure to subscribe to the podcast, follow the Swell Pod on social media, and subscribe to your YouTube channel at, you guessed it, the Swell Pod.
This is interview 39 of the Kiln Road Trip, and today we're at Kiln Provo talking with Trey Stewart. You may have heard of Trey as a BYU basketball player, but he's also a fashion designer for his company Default Happiness, a clothing brand that makes art to spread love. Thanks for tuning in. We hope you enjoy today's episode.
If you can intro yourself, your name, as well as what you're up to right now and what you're passionate about, and we'll go from there.
All right, well, my name's Trey Stewart. I play basketball at BYU right now. I'm a psychology major. I'm 22 years of age, and I also love art. Art's become like my love. So I love that Pleasantly Rebellious. It's cool because like you wouldn't expect a basketball player to go home and sew every weekend.
Right.
After like we beat like the number 17 team in the nation last weekend, right after the game, I went home and sewed. So it's just funny, like that's just my life right now, which is it's just so like interesting. But no, it's been fun. I just love art. I got into painting shoes. The shoes kind of escalated into some clothing, and then the clothing turned into more clothing. And then I started doing charity work, and I decided to do a fashion show, and now I'm just making pieces for NFL and NBA players. So, yeah.
NFL and NBA players.
Yep.
Yeah, tell me who's getting your clothes.
So Dwayne Wade was the first NBA player I got it in, which is the legend.
Oh yeah.
Dwayne Wade, crazy. So it was really cool to meet him and make him a piece because he's a fashion guy. I always looked up to him. Yeah. I remember being a little kid in the driveway pretending to be Dwayne Wade. I had his basketball shoes too, so it was just crazy. Like a surreal full circle moment, giving him something. Hale Tafunga, he's on the 49ers, and with Fred Warner. Who else we got? Jordan Clarkson, I'm making a few pieces for him right now.
No way.
Buddy Hield, he's on the Indiana Pacers. Puka Nacua, good old BYU
Really?
alum. Yeah, so it's just been fun to just like see my art on that stage.
That's so cool.
And that's how you see it, right? Your art.
Yeah, 100%. Because it's a piece, and I love that. Because like to me, art is just anything you create. Like you can make anything in this art. So I always like saying I like making art, and people are my canvases. So I have all these NFL players, NBA players, and they're perfect canvases because they can wear crazy stuff, and I like to make crazy stuff. But if I'm going to a normal day and I'm wearing something crazy, it might not be the best fit. So it's kind of fun making stuff for those guys pregame.
Oh, that's so cool.
Do they wear it pregame? Like walking into the stadium and everything?
Yeah, so I made a piece for Ole Miss quarterback. They just lost to Georgia pretty bad, but he's a great player, starting quarterback. And they do this walk up before every game where they have like all the fans there and all of the dudes put on a fit and just walk down.
Yeah.
So it's cool to like have my fit out there walking in, like Dwayne Wade rocking it. So it's cool.
That's so cool.
And is it word of mouth now?
Yeah, so it's just funny how you just get random connections, random blessings. And it's cool because like opportunities are everything. And if you're ready for that opportunity, then that's when you can kind of capitalize. Yeah. So I've done the legwork over the past couple of years where, I've been to my parents' house sewing. I've been doing random stuff. It was not good at the beginning, but I've trained myself to the point where now when an opportunity comes, I can capitalize on that and make something really special that these guys will appreciate and rock.
What was the thing that got you to the sewing machine?
Yeah, so this was funny because like I just like printed on shirts for like 2 years prior to this, and then it was 3 a.m. one night. I remember it so clearly, and I went on Facebook Marketplace. Have y'all been on Facebook Marketplace?
Yeah.
It's a dangerous place for me.
Yeah.
I go on that thing, and then I exit off, and I've spent $300. But one night I was up, and I saw all these cool tapestry blankets, and I was like, man, these are cool. And I saw another cool one. And I saw another cool one and another cool one. So I'm like, shoot, I might have to buy a bunch. So I made a spreadsheet, calculated it all up. This is at 3 a.m. Keep that in mind.
Looking at tapestry blankets in a spreadsheet.
I bought $400 worth of tapestry blankets because I was like, can I do that? And I was like, yeah, let's do it. And I really just like sunk all my money into all this and bought a bunch of blankets. They came, and I woke up in the morning and I was like, I just spent $400 on blankets, but I was like, let's go. We're going to do this. So then I decided to have a fashion show a few weeks later. And then, sewed 20 outfits, and it was awesome. Yeah.
That's awesome. Where was the fashion show? Tell me
It was
about
just in
that.
a backyard. We do a ghetto.
Yeah.
And that's what I like, is everything's just like my interpretation. So like, I didn't really watch any fashion shows. It was just like, okay, what would be my interpretation of a fashion show? And then like, while I sewed my pieces, it'd be like, well, what's my interpretation of how to make this crew neck? Like, what's my interpretation of how to make a sleeve, how to do a pocket? So it was just awesome to see all that stuff come to life and be like, that's my whole head just represented. And it's not like conventional wisdom just being displayed. So.
Huh. How long ago was that first?
June, yeah.
June this year?
Yeah, June is when I think June 7th is when I first bought all the blankets.
No way. And the fashion show, was this where Ryan Smith was there?
Yeah, so Ryan Smith, and that's another opportunity. Like, you got a billionaire at your fashion show, and then he loved all this stuff, so then he hooked me up with Dwayne and Jordan Clarkson. So opportunities, man.
All adds up. So where did you learn to sew, though?
I don't know, honestly. I took like home ec in like middle school, and I sewed a pillowcase. And then I remember like my mom had a sewing machine. I was like, oh, I'm gonna try it. So I like remembered how to sew, like remember how to like, what's it called, thread the needle. Yeah. That's the other thing, is I don't know what all the words are. Yeah. So to me, it's just like a weird machine that I just figured out how to use. Yeah. So I'm actually in a sewing class right now at BYU, and I hate it. My least favorite thing.
Really?
Why's that?
It's not my sewing.
It's
someone else's interpretation of sewing. So everyone's like, all right, this is a basting stitch, this is this. And I'm like, no, I don't have a word for that stitch, but I use it. But I hate like the SPI, all the little stuff behind it, which I get it, you got to know it. But to me, it's just like what in my head is like going to work right here. And then.
So why are you taking the class? Is this about credits or?
So yeah, it was. So
is this about efficiency?
I figured I should probably learn. I was like, I should probably learn how to sew. Mm-hmm. And I don't know if this is a mistake to like traditionally learn how to sew, but we'll figure it out. I'm good. Any knowledge is good.
Yeah.
You'll figure it out. So.
It's super interesting. Like where did you kind of get that feeling like you want to interpret a lot of things like you're in your own way? I mean, I think maybe all of us probably feel that deep down, but it seems like it's a theme that you've mentioned a few times.
Well, like my closing piece in my art show or fashion show was like this denim cool like soccer penny vest. It was weird. You need to see a picture to like explain it. But on the back it said, "He who creates art shall share his mind with the world." Yeah. So if you're truly creating genuine art, like anyone, like I said, like you can create art and it could be cool. Like you can look up DIY videos and do that, and that's awesome. But like if you truly want to create like pure genuine art, then like just go and create in your own mind. Don't Google, don't go online. Like you can get ideas and inspiration from other people. Like I definitely owe a lot of respect to a bunch of different designers and stuff who I look up to and like see their piece and like, oh, that's cool. But to me, that true genuine art is like me just sitting there meditating and getting lost in creative thought and then creating.
Nice. You've been there before, haven't you?
Yeah,
a few times.
Let's hear.
Not with the sewing machine, but
what's yours?
No,
you ever been lost in creative?
I was a filmmaker for a bit, a writer. Okay. I like storytelling, but it was so interesting because I was thinking like, you know, I was just processing this because I wanted to ask you about inspiration, but I get that point about your interpretation. Yeah. And you know, then I like to think about this thought about, you know, whether or not anything is original or not, you know, and you know, you can believe everything's original or nothing is original. It depends on how you interpret what's gone into your brain up until that moment, you know. I don't know. What would you say to that?
I think that's a tough one because you do look at a lot of stuff, and a lot of times if you were to give someone the exact same thing and say, this is how to do it, everybody's going to do it that way. But if you give someone like a bunch of different people something and then not tell them how to do it, you're going to have a ton of people mess up. Yeah. You're going to have a ton of people maybe be a little bit successful, but you're going to have different approaches and different viewpoints of how to get to that destination. Yeah. So to me, when I look at other people's stuff, I'm like, that's cool, but I'm not going to make that. It's just kind of like an inspiration nugget that I'm just putting into my bank. Yeah. So it's like a good example is like Louis Vuitton. They held a cool fashion show where they had Kendrick Lamar just sitting down in the side, like the front row, just singing. Yeah. And then it was just a cool little walkway, cool vibe. And like the art pieces they had there was one of them. It was like this cool embossed jacket. And I saw that and I'm like, that's really cool. I'm not going to make that jacket, but I'm sitting there thinking, I'm like, oh, well, what else could I do? And then just figuring out a different way. So it's like I see the end piece, they've given me the instructions, not the instructions, they've given me something, a jacket. They've showed me a jacket. Now it's like, okay, now how would I make a jacket? So I don't know, just like taking it in, but also recognizing, like, think for yourself.
Yeah, there's got to be so much in that interpretation thought too, in terms of the confidence to have that interpretation, which I think is really interesting. Yeah. So like when you had your fashion show, like before it started, were you nervous, or like were you just confident because you're like, this is me out on these canvases? Like,
again, with that opportunity thing, I've just kind of developed a mindset. Like, I don't want to say it's a cocky mindset. Yeah. But it's like, I've put in so much time. So like, an example is my friend was like, oh, I want something to put on my wall. I've never made anything you put on a wall. I was like, I got you. Yeah. So then I digitally drew this picture, which I suck at drawing. So I drew this picture online of Muhammad Ali, and it turned out good. Printed it all out and made a whole mosaic out of corduroy, and then put it on the canvas, sewed it all, and put it on the wall. So it's just like, I've had so many experiences where I've just been like, I'm just going to try it. And then the more I've tried stuff, the more I've been able to display my raw talent. It's been like, okay, no, like, I can do whatever I think I can do. Yeah. So then, like, when that fashion show came, I remember the night before, like, I wasn't stressed. I stayed up till 4 a.m. I was just so excited because I'm like, I know it's going to be good. Yeah. Like, I don't like, because I designed the music. I made a huge weird walkway. Like, I didn't do like a traditional runway. Yeah. So it's just like so many different things where I'm like, this is my mind and I'm sharing my mind with the world, and I'm hoping people will interpret it the good way, and people took it really well. So.
That's incredible. Yeah. I love that.
Have you ever sewed anything?
Yeah, I think so. When I was in high school, it was kind of right when the tighter pants trend was coming around. But,
let's go. Like, you cinched the jeans up?
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. Because like, it was either, because like they weren't really getting, there weren't like a lot of options for guys with tight pants at the time. So it was either, wear some girl pants or just cinch them up. Yeah. I did do that. Yeah.
That's what's up.
Yeah.
Have you sewn before?
I wish I wish I'd done more stuff though. Like, my mum would do all these road shows, and so she would sew the Pink Panther outfit and the anyway, she'd sew like all night long for these road shows. Yeah. So we all the boys learned to like go thrifting, get jeans, cut them all up, and then we made, like, for about a year we were making denim jackets, but out of the pants. Yeah. And then I did other things like just stitching stuff onto tops and hoodies. I used to paint. This is different, a little bit different, but paint onto motocross, like gold and silver jackets, big puffy jackets. Charles Barkley with this puffy paint that would like expand, and then we'd sell them to like custom pieces to people. That was back in the 80s, making little De La Soul badges and sell them as boutique things. I wish I'd carried on, really. I mean, I've come back to creative now, but that is a fun time when you can do anything. Yeah. My favorite was going into Leeds. Now I know where your inspiration for fashion must have come from England, from Manchester, because he spent his 2 years in Manchester.
Oh, did you?
I was Leeds.
It was Leeds.
Yeah, I served in Middlesbrough and Nottingham.
And never Leeds.
Never Leeds, but I've been there.
You've been there lots.
Been there, Durham, York, all that.
Are you kidding?
Yeah.
Well, that's where you got the inspiration from.
They do have good art. Yeah. The art there is just different, man.
So you've been in the city centre, right? But above all the Leeds like stores, Accent and Harvey Nichols, above there would be all the textile like tailors and materials back in the certainly 60s, 70s. That's where you went to get your material.
That'd be cool.
So I would go and pick I couldn't afford the nice stuff, so I'd go and pick like we call them trousers, but go and pick the trousers that I liked.
Trousers. Yeah. When I came back and I said trousers, someone made fun of me, and I was like, no, that's what they call it. No,
yeah. Before we get into the rest of the episode, we want to thank the partners and sponsors who made the Kiln Road Trip possible. The Kiln Road Trip is brought to you by Kiln. Kiln is a boutique co-working and flex office community with 13 locations in 6 states across the West. dedicated to providing innovative workspaces that empower your team to thrive. Whether you're a solo visionary or an enterprise-level team of up to 100, Kiln transcends being merely a place to work. It's a hub for learning and connecting with like-minded professionals that will make you and your team love where you work.
And if you haven't stepped foot inside a kiln yet, you really need to. On this road trip, we visited every single location, and trust us when we say once you see these beautifully designed spaces, meet the talented team, and connect with fellow members, you won't want to work anywhere else.
Locations include Utah, Colorado, Idaho, Oregon, California, and Arizona. And they're growing too, with multiple locations set to open in 2024.
Yeah, so be sure to check out the kiln locations nearest you by booking a tour at kiln.com and answer Swell in the question, how did you hear about us? Once you complete the tour, you'll be entered into a competition where you could win a 1-year membership, their club membership at Kiln.
Yep, you heard that. That's kiln.com, book a tour, and be sure to mention Swell in the question, how did you hear about us?
The Kiln Road Trip is also brought to you by Moterra Campervans, a luxury campervan rental company for iconic road trips. Their top-of-the-line vans are available at 7 locations located near America's best outdoor adventure destinations. They have consistently earned the highest customer ratings in the industry, making Moterra Campervans your gateway to adventure without sacrificing on comfort or service.
That's true, and initially we wanted to take this journey in a 1960s VW bus, but thankfully we found Moterra instead. With 3 van options, we took the Pop Top Classic, which sleeps 4 and is best for those who want to maximize floor space and storage. This was critical for us because it needed to sleep the entire crew, we needed space to edit, and we were traveling with large amounts of equipment, luggage, and other goodies that we picked up along the way.
And this van took us through all 3,580 miles of the trip. Super comfortable and sweet to drive.
And actually, Moterra offers fully planned itineraries if you'd rather leave the planning to someone else.
Visit gomoterra.com/swell. That's gomoterra.com/swell.
This episode is also brought to you by Taurus. Taurus is leading the charge in home energy storage. Taurus makes it easy to achieve energy independence and a greener tomorrow. The Taurus Station provides everything you need to generate clean power, efficiently store electricity, and easily manage your energy use.
And installing a Taurus station offers plenty of benefits, including save money on your electricity bill,
also ensure energy security with backup power during outages,
reduce carbon emissions with renewables.
You can also automate EV charging and HVAC systems with 100% renewables.
And enjoy unrivaled system monitoring and support.
If you like the sound of those benefits, get a quote to build your Taurus station in less than 30 seconds. Super easy at taurus.co. That's TORUS.co. Now, let's get back to the episode.
But I remember picking out velvet material and then going out and basically asking the tailor to make me Levi 501s in velvet, and then I'd put, I'd take the badges off and put it back on. But I don't know, I missed that period of time. But so I'm going to come back to, where are you going to go with this then, long term?
So that's the funny thing, is I'm in that phase right now where I have no clue.
Yeah.
Because I'm just making art, and I love making art. And I'm a huge believer, you got to do stuff for free, and you got to sacrifice a little bit at this time, especially right now. I'm in my 20s.
Yeah.
I have a scholarship, so my schooling and housing is paid for. So it's just such a blessing that I get to experiment right now.
Yeah.
And just work on being an artist. And then right now I'm in the stage where I'm okay, I should probably figure out what opportunities can come from this. Yeah. So I'm starting to have those conversations with people, and if anybody's looking to talk to me on what fashion is, or the whole world of fashion is, I honestly have no clue. So I'm just very humbled to go and talk to these people and be what can I do? Or I don't know where I want to go with it, but day by day.
I love how open you are to that too. I think that's really, really incredible, especially considering that confidence of interpretation, like we were talking about a second ago. Yeah. You've got that, but then also the openness to just listen to anybody that will give anything, really, which is really cool. Very 100%. Open to that. Yeah. So advice, what advice do you have then for anyone out there? Could be of any age, but they're all a lot of people are trying to create something that had never existed before. Yeah. Which is, of course, you've kind of taken something that did exist, old stuff. But either way, what advice would you have for them if they want to try to create
something that didn't exist before and maybe create it into a movement, because that's what yours is starting to do in a way, right? It's now starting to filter out into the big wide world, right? And people are asking you for it.
Yeah, it's cool. Sorry, this is another side note, but I love I love using blankets rather than like raw materials because they have such a good story before. So it's just like the pieces are even more detailed and more like this was in someone's house before. This is like an old vintage blanket. Like I just love the like story, like genuineness behind the pieces and the fabrics and everything they're made out of. But back to what you're saying, the first step is just doing it. Yeah. Like you're going to try and you're going to mess up. Like I've messed up so many times. You have those nights where you just want to throw something at a wall because you just make a mistake. But like those are the nights that really make you. And it's been interesting how I have a lot of people like hit me up or like want to start sewing or doing something. Like you just got to turn on a sewing machine and do it. Because like that's when you're going to learn. And you're not going to just sit back and no one's going to baby step you through it. Like just try to make art, try to experience with it. And then that's when you can be ready for those opportunities. Because a lot of people kind of wait for those opportunities. But like I was saying, like I'm in that position where I'm like, I've done the legwork on my art, or I feel like I'm a really good artist. So when the opportunity comes, I'm going to be ready. Rather than being like, opportunity comes, okay, now I got to get ready. Now I have the opportunity to do this. And if you have a new idea, if you have an idea, just do it. Because somebody else, that idea is going to come to them eventually. Because I feel like there's that energy around it inspires people and things are going to come into light. So if you have that light touch you, you got to act on that.
And just do it and do it now. Like do it quick. Like get this thing done. Don't wait a year on it. Like do it this weekend.
Because if you ask a lot of people, one of my favorite quotes is like one of the richest people, one of the most valuable places in the world is a graveyard. Because in a graveyard, there's ideas that have died that never were brought to light. So it's just such a deep thought to think about how many times people were inspired by the creative light but never acted on it. And given there's life circumstances, financial circumstances, but like act on it, please. If you have like a good art or even a good idea, because that's going to better society. It's going to inspire someone else, and someone else is going to be inspired, and that ball is just going to keep rolling.
I think we, if you're open to it, I think we should have you put something on the van.
Yeah, we should get you to just we've got some chalk paints. People have been graffitiing it. Yeah. They're either doing it could be a quote, a thought, or a challenge for us. People are giving challenges to us.
That's cool.
Yeah. Any last thoughts, questions?
No, I appreciate it. I think I love that last answer. I've never heard that quote. So I thought that was a good quote. I mean, it's very, very real, because everybody has those ideas that, it's like, I wish I did something with that, And it just, I don't know.
And look at y'all. Y'all are on the road acting on a creative idea.
That's true. Yeah.
Exactly. You're living it. Yeah. And you're having fun.
Yeah, man.
Because you acted on it.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
I also just love the idea that you beat the number 17 team in the nation and went back and you started sewing.
Rather than partying or going out with my friends, I was just going away on a sewing machine.
I just hear the sound.
I know. Just boom.
Yeah. That's cool, though. No, we appreciate you being on the podcast, though.
Thank you for having me.
It means a lot.
Blessing.
Yeah, and if you ever, this is a random thought, but Kiln's really great for community. Have you been into any of the Kilns?
I've seen it before, but no, I've never been in.
Do you know Hollister?
Clothing company?
No.
I was like,
so Hollister is he does treehouse talks.
Oh yeah.
But it was like heaving 150 people here on what was it, Thursday night?
Thursday.
But the point is that this place can be used, and so I can just picture Trey with 50 people with the sewing machines, and you're 100%. Like teaching them how to make something.
No, that'd be cool. I messed with that.
Or something. But yeah, it's cool. Thank you so much for coming down here, and we look forward to watching your journey. I'm sure it'll involve art,
we'll
fashion,
see where it goes.
Probably somewhere in the sports industry, whatever. But yeah, we look forward to it. Thank you.
Thanks.
Thank you.
Thanks for tuning in to today's episode of the Kiln Road Trip. Be sure to follow along on the rest of the journey, and you can do that in two ways. One, subscribe to the podcast, whether you're listening on Apple, Spotify, or maybe even watching on YouTube, and follow along on all of our social media platforms, whether you're on LinkedIn, Instagram, Facebook, Twitter, or TikTok, @the Swell Pod. Thanks again, and we'll see you in the next episode.